Hey there, Internet. As is tradition, to my left is Jacob,
And to my right is Niall.
and you're watching the Readiness Report. So, sorry about any background noise you might hear in this video. It's Thanksgiving, and people are busy working in our mess hall here in our secret bunker, so you might hear some stuff going on in the background, food processors and the like. Just ignore it. Wanted to get this video out while the book is still fresh.
Yes.
But exciting news!
In the world of Flames of War.
Jake and I are excited about something from Battlefront. And it's not Berlin this time. We got Team Yankee coming out. It's modern World War III game. Or
modern-ish.
Pre-modern, 1980s, so, mostly modern.
It's not under the banner of Flames of War.
Yes, it is not technically Flames of War, however...
it's very similar.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a bit, but, so we got in the demo copy, or the preview copy of the book at the store, and Jake and I have had it for a couple weeks now. We've looked over the rules and seen what we like, what we don't like. There's actually very little we don't like about it, which is cool. So like I said, we're excited.
Yes, good news coming.
Yep. First off, just the physical book itself, it's typical Battlefront, very pretty artwork.
Full color.
Full color. Since they stopped making their books in Malaysia, the pages don't fall out anymore.
Yeah, it glues much better.
Yeah, which it holds together, which is really nice. Hardcover, full color. That typical good stuff about the book. But the game, like Jake said, it's very similar to Flames of War. The first thing you'll probably notice upon looking at the rules is the point values are
a little different.
A little different than how they've done it in the past. So you may, if you've played War Machine, this might seem kind of similar to when they came out with second edition of War Machine and Hordes. So they went from having platoons of tanks being like 200-300 points
yeah,
to being like 2 points per tank, or around there. I think T-72s are like 1 point apiece.
4
points apiece.
Yeah, the Abrams is 8.
The Abrams is 8 points, so it's 2 T-72s to 1 Abrams.
Just like it should be.
Yes. Points-wise, just like it should be. The stats are a little... We'll get to that in a bit, too. But, yeah, so that's honestly the biggest change. You still have the standard Flames of War phases. You have... Line of sight is done the same. You roll to hit for shooting, then you roll to penetrate, and then you roll firepower check, all that good stuff.
Yeah, the only slight differences to that is there's no longer ratings. There's a to-hit rating.
They don't have like confident trained troops anymore. You have a rating for to hit and a rating for your morale. So that way
two separate morales. There's your motivation and your
right. So there's whether or not you're going to run from the battle, and then there's whether or not you're going to get back in the tank.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting because that way it can be really maybe pretty easy to hit something, but they're really good at unbailing their tank or unbogging their tank, stuff like that. So it's an interesting way to change things up.
I like it. I think this could be a lot better.
Instead of
very vanilla.
It seems like a very natural progression for the game.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the basic rules though haven't really changed. They finally went in and actually have like a full list of terrain features and exactly what they do and what they mean in the game, which is nice. And I mean, it's like a whole page of terrain features of various tree lines and roads and barriers, things like that. And it's no more arguing about whether you get, cover in the crop fields or people forgetting how bocage works. That was always the one I hated the most.
Yeah, that's why we never played it.
Every year on D-Day, guys, it works the same way. Bocage hasn't changed. Anyway, but it really feels to me like this is Flames of War version 3 beta.
Yes, very much beta.
Maybe like version 2.5.
Yeah.
I could see this easily being adapted to Flames of War version 3, which I could honestly see Battlefront doing, because they need a revenue stream. Their board games are doing okay, but
Terrain. We need more terrain.
yeah, they're not making enough
Want more
terrain,
terrain.
and no one's really buying Flames of War World War II right now, because a lot of people have already got it, and I mean it makes sense.
I have
World
like
War
5
II
armies now.
Yeah, World War II was a finite amount of time. There's a finite amount of things you can do for it.
This, let's go over that, because you and I were talking about that a lot. Instead of the infinite possibilities of just a World War III game, they went with an IP on this one.
Yes. So, hypothetical situation, Jake.
Hmm.
You and I are making a Cold War gone hot. We can't call it that because that's copyrighted.
Copywritten.
But, you know, if we actually went to war with Russia, hypothetical game, right? Do we just make it sort of generic, and which would be free, because you can't copyright the Cold War and you can't copyright a T-72 and an Abrams?
No, you can't.
So do we do that, or do we pay money for a license that has very specific units in it that we also had to pay money for?
I feel like I know where you're going with this.
Yes.
What is Team Yankee?
So Team Yankee was a novel written a while back by a former U.S. Army tank commander, I believe, about a hypothetical situation of what would happen if the Cold War turned hot. And so it's...
The book is about
the book,
Team Yankee.
Yeah, it's about Team Yankee, which is a task force in the U.S. Army. And, you know, so it brings into... Because it's written by a military guy, it brings in a lot of, like, legitimate tactics and actual...
the effects of war.
Units.
That was why I enjoyed the book.
Right, so actual units and equipment, though.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, it happened in the 80s. So, you know, you have Abrams, the original Abrams tanks.
The M1.
The M1,
not the A1.
Not the A1, the M1. You have dudes running around with M16s, not M4s.
And M60s.
And M60 Pattons. You have, you have Cobras. Very little use of, or I don't think there's any use of Apaches.
No. Not yet, anyways.
Right. So, you know, I don't know what their limitations are with this IP, but I don't understand it. Because there's not a lot of name power behind Team Yankee, honestly.
No, most people wouldn't know what you're talking about.
Right. I mean...
I read the book. I know of its existence, but...
Right, but a lot of people don't. And even people who do know of it were just kind of like, oh, really? Okay, sure, why not? You know, and I don't... It doesn't make sense to me because you have to pay money for it, and now you're stuck in the 80s.
Yeah, there's not a lot of room for expansion.
M113s and M1 Abrams. You know, if it would not have been difficult if you just made a generic World War III game to stretch it into modern or postmodern. You know, you could have Humvees and Bradleys being the main unit carriers on the table.
Yeah, my first thought was, cool, we're going to modern, I want a Striker Battalion.
Nope.
And no.
Yeah, no Striker Battalion for you, buddy. You know, so no Strikers. You could have had dudes running around with M4s instead of M16s, or had different fire teams. You have, you know, Marines running around with M16s and Army dudes running around with M4s. You could have thrown in some various... I mean, they might get to this... They might get to this too, but you could throw in various like special forces units and things like that. And you wouldn't have had to pay anything.
Yeah.
It's all that, the look of all that's all public. You can't copyright that. No one can come and yell at you for making a miniature of an M1A1. No one can come and yell at you for making a miniature of an Apache longbow, which is really what I want.
Yeah.
I want Apaches because I just want to put out Apaches and win games. But regardless, though, the game itself does look good.
Yeah, the like you said, the rulebook's gorgeous. Thumbing through it, though, it definitely feels like it's its own self-contained thing. I definitely feel like they might move on from this, but this is its own thing.
Right, and it was pointed out to me that while, you know, a lot of the stuff from Flames of War Vietnam and Arab-Israeli War, theoretically, you should be able to move into a Team Yankee setting very easily because of the point value difference that they...
it's a little different.
It's difficult to do that.
Yeah.
You know, because there's stuff that they've done miniatures for in those games that they obviously haven't yet. They say there's more coming out for Team Yankee. They say there's more forces coming out for Team Yankee.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah,
I see more challengers too.
You can't have Cold War gone hot scenario without
the British,
without the British and the Germans. So, and because it is Team Yankee, it is Americans versus Soviets, which is cool if you want to play one of those. I want to play Americans.
Yeah, I want to play everything.
He just wants to put out like 800 T-72s.
I love my tanks.
And that's another kind of weird thing is, honestly, the game feels like it should be taking place later than the 80s because the only tank the Russians have in this game is T-72s when they did not have those T-72s in Europe at the time.
Not a whole lot of them.
They had
no, definitely
ton of T-50s.
T-54, 55s. But yeah, they were slowly moving that way towards more new tech. But yeah.
So hopefully, we'll be able to have like 3-point T-54s instead of 4-point T-72s in the future, maybe, and just die from being looked at crossways from an Abrams.
I look forward to that.
Yeah. I also look forward to Bradley's.
Yeah, more fun. Not to bag on the M113 because it was in service for so long, but I just don't like the look.
Yeah, but it makes sense to me why they would start out with the M113.
Yeah,
because
for sure.
They already had a miniature for it.
Yeah.
As far as we could tell, it's the same miniature they released for Flames of War Vietnam and the one they released for the Jordan units for
Fate of a Nation.
Fate of a Nation.
For those of you that haven't done Arab-Israeli War.
We just call it Arab-Israeli War. Is it actually called Fate of a Nation?
Yeah, that's what the book is titled.
Hey, you learn something new every day. Anyway, people are excited about plastic Cobras too, though. But
that's another thing. All the kits are plastic.
Yes, every kit is plastic. No resin, no pewter in this. The stuff they're coming out with on the 12th, which was pushed back. That's what they pushed it back to from mid-November. When was it supposed to be out?
Tomorrow.
It was tomorrow originally?
Yeah, delayed 2 weeks.
Which, again, today's Thanksgiving, so the day after Thanksgiving. It got pushed back 2 weeks to the 12th of December.
Yeah, they weren't satisfied with one of the plastic
They weren't
kits.
satisfied with the T-72.
Yeah.
Which apparently is an important model kit in this time period. I don't get it. But the stuff they're coming out with, the stuff they're coming out with right away are 2 army deals.
Yes.
One for the U.S., one for the Russians. They come with tanks and choppers.
The Russians with more.
M1 Abrams and Cobras for the Americans, and T-72s and Heinz for the Russians. Later on, they're going to be coming out with
platoon and company boxes.
Yeah, mechanized infantry platoon boxes, transport platoon boxes, mobile artillery. We're getting some paladins, right?
Oh yes, we're getting those. We're getting several different ones for the Russians. We're getting AA units.
Right, we're getting dedicated AA units. We're getting A-10s for the Americans, and was it the Frogfoot?
Yes.
For the Russians.
Su-25.
Su-25, and we'll see how that goes for them. Anyway, so yeah, that's stuff that's scheduled to come out. They have a release schedule out through the end of January, which means we could probably expect the last of what they've announced at the end of February. Because it is Battlefront.
And they are a little slow sometimes.
Yep. But yeah, we're excited. Hopefully in a couple weeks we'll have a video after we've actually sat down and played a game, and we can tell you what we think after having played a game. But just looking at it, it looks like it plays basically like Flames of War. Another weird thing they changed is there's not specific command bases anymore. Right, you pick a base within the unit that is the commander, and when that base dies, the commander can switch. Potentially, if you make your roll, it can switch to another unit.
Much like command teams from Flames of War, but just a little bit more simplified this time.
Right, it's just a base, and it makes sense because the commander's just out there with an M16 like everyone else. So,
yeah.
Again, we're excited for something from Battlefront. First time in a while.
Yes, ever since Berlin.
Berlin was cool. I mean, it was neat, but you can't do a lot with it. You play a few games with it, you're like, that was cool. But it's still just Flames of War.
Back to something else.
Yep. Long are the days of the Bagration books. How much fun those were. So we gotta get something new going on.
Yeah.
There's definitely a fresh look on it. Again, don't be surprised if you see Flames of War 3 come out that are very similar
similar
rules
to
to
this.
Team Yankee.
Yep.
And also, don't be surprised if you see Thanksgiving events from us next year using Team Yankee, because
I'm going to buy all the T-72s.
who doesn't want 80 Abrams on a table, right?
I'm going to bring all the T-72s.
Okay.
Literally. All the ones that produced.
If you like that video, be sure to click subscribe below and like this video so you can be up to date when we come out with future videos. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter and G+. And stay tuned because we'll probably be coming out with a post playtest video for Team Yankee after the set was come out.
Can't wait. Can't wait.
Bye. Not to mention the fact that we tested the Abrams versus the T-72 in a little engagement called Desert Storm. We outranged them, and they couldn't dent the Abrams.
No.
They didn't do anything to them. So that's my chief complaint. Like, not just historically, it doesn't make sense. Gameplay wise, it doesn't make sense. The points values just don't make sense.
Yeah.
So the holidays are a hectic time for most people. You try not to ruin Christmas by getting the wrong thing or not getting the thing that so-and-so wants. And you're running all over the place, doing last-minute shopping, preparing for your loved ones coming in or going to visit loved ones. Come into Little Shop of Magic during the month of December, take a load off, get a free cup of coffee or hot cocoa or a hot tea, and play some games on us, and take a breather from it all.
Yeah, we're also doing Toys for Tots. We are a donation center. We take unused, new, unwrapped toys. We, for every $100 people spend in the store, we're also donating. But that goes until December 9th.
And the $100 also counts for our online store as well. So you spend $100 at our online store or in our brick and mortar location, we'll donate a toy.
Make Christmas for someone this year.
In addition to Toys for Tots, we're also doing our yearly food fight series of tournaments. So you donate canned or non-perishable food items. We don't care if it's pasta or beans or canned cornbread, or whatever. It doesn't matter. Donate 2 non-perishable food items as your entry fee. In addition to I think most of them are $5 a piece. Yeah. And then during the tournament, donate additional food items to unlock various cheats in the game. Dice re-rolls, change the facing of dice, get additional units in your armies, things like that. All that can be found on our calendar of events on our website, but we are doing Drop Zone Commander, X-Wing, Star Wars Armada, Android Netrunner, I believe Malifaux.
I think Malifaux passed already.
Okay, the Malifaux one happened already.
I think so.
But we were doing also a Magic event in there somewhere, I believe. And I know I'm missing one. HeroClix.
Yeah, HeroClix.
So
yeah, it's all on our website.
It's all on our website, on the calendar of events on our website. Check that out. It has all the details about what cheats you get in game.
The goal is to cheat as much as possible because we want to donate this season.
Right. We are also a drop-off location for 3 Square Food Bank in Las Vegas. So if you want to donate some food, we will also be perfectly willing to just take straight-up donations if you don't plan on playing in any of the tournaments. That works just fine as well. Again, make Christmas better for someone, or make the holidays better for someone this season. If it's Christmas for you, if it's
Kwanzaa, Hanukkah,
if it's solstice celebration because you're
pagan, let's just
matter.
make the holidays much
make
better.
December
for people.
Awesome for other people.